Welcome back to another Mission Possible. In this mission tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you about folders on the Google Drive and also teaching you about the really cool sharing and collaboration features that are available in the Google Apps for Education suite. So I want to show you that if you click this little drop-down arrow here on my drive, I've got some folders created and set up here. I've got a folder for 6th grade. I've got a folder for Mission Possible website documents and things that I've created. And if you notice, there's a little drop down here next to the Mission Possible website. I actually have subfolders underneath that Mission Possible website. I also created a folder called Test Folder. And I want to show you that on any of these folders, there's a little drop down next to it that has some options. So you can open the folder, you can create a new subfolder underneath it right from there. You can share that folder and everything in it. You could add a star to the folder and mark it as one of your important ones if you have several. You could move it, rename it, and so on and so forth right from there. I'm going to actually remove this test folder, and you notice it moved that test folder to the trash. To create a new folder, to get started on folders, you simply click the Create button and click on Folder. And I will go ahead and call this new one Test Folder. And you'll notice that it's going to add it to my list of folders right here at the bottom where it was. And then I can choose to move that folder around. If I wanted that to be a subfolder of 6th grade, I would just drag it right up here onto the 6th grade, and it would then create a subfolder underneath the 6th grade. And you notice that the 6th grade folder is solid, which means that it is not shared with anyone. It is private. And because I put test folder underneath of it, it is also not shared, but it has the same permissions as its parent folder, the 6th grade folder. Now, if I were to move the test folder to the Mission Possible folder and create it as a subfolder under there, you'll notice that it has the same sharing permissions. The little person there indicates that I've shared that folder and everything in it. And so that allows you to set sharing permissions for a folder at the folder level and not have to change the permissions on every single document that is inside that folder. And this is very useful for several reasons. So suppose that we go ahead and we want to move that out of the Mission Possible folder. We want to move it back here. You'll notice that when we moved it out of the shared folder, it is no longer shared again. Let's go ahead and rename this folder and call it History Block 1. And if this were a folder that I was going to put all the documents in for my History Block 1 class, I could then go ahead and click on this Share option, and I could share the folder then, either by allowing sharing the link by copying the link and sending it out to whomever I'd like, or I can change the access here from private to anyone with the link can access. So if you're wanting to share a folder with parents or people who are not in our CCA domain, it's good to use that anyone with the link, no sign-in required, can view that folder, and that's helpful to them there. But if we're going to do it with students, what we would do is we would just go ahead and add the students' names right here and allow them the ability to view. I would change that to view the folder. And I want to show you how to create a student group here for just a minute so that you can create groups at the beginning of the year for each one of your classes. So let's go ahead and switch modes here, and we're going to go into the Contacts tab right here at the top of your Google Apps menu. When you go into the Contacts tab, you can create a new contact individually here, or you can go down right here and create a new group. And if we call this group History Block 1, and you might want to add a 1314 next to it, you can say OK, click on that group over here from the left, and you notice it says there are no contacts in this group. We can add contacts right from here. So say I want to add, I'm going to use administrator names because I know they're already in our domain here. Once the student names are imported over, you'll be able to see the student names populate as you type them in, but they've not been moved over yet. So say I wanted to add a couple of students to this class here, And then I wanted to create another new group called History Block 2. And in this one, in this class, History Block 2, I'm going to add another couple of names here. And of course, you would type in your whole class list here and create your groups ahead of time. Now, I might want to create a new group called All Students. And one easy way to do that is once you've done your classes, then all you have to do is create this group for all students, and you can go get your History Block 1 and your History Block 2 classes and just click the button right up here that says All and highlight all the names that for the students there, and then with this little Groups button you can add those names to the All Students class, and you notice that went up by 2. And then if I go to the Block 1 class, I can have them checked and do the same, All Students now. And now I've got all students in both of my classes here are now listed under the All Students tab. So those are some very useful lists that you would be able to do. And I have noticed that in order to get those to auto-populate, so that they just come up when you are wanting to share with a whole group, you do have to sign out once and then sign right back in order to get it to auto-populate. For some reason, I've found that that's the case. So now I want to show you how that works. If you go over here to, all right, let's reload there. All right, so if you go back to your Google Drive and you have that folder called the History Block 1 that you wanted to share, and you have chosen now to share this file with the History Block 1 list. You notice that it's now auto-populating. Your class contacts would be right in there, and you can choose to give that folder to your students with view permission or edit permission. And I would suggest that at the folder level you go ahead and allow them just to view, not to edit. And then you'll notice then that that folder is shared with those students, and the folder now has a little share icon. The students will then see that folder in their shared with me file. So it will say History Block 1 for them, and they would be able to access any documents that you put in that folder, and you've now shared it with that list of students who are in your class. So very, very helpful. If the student then pulls something that's shared with them, and say they have just view status. Let me show you this here. Okay, if a student opens a document that has been shared with them with view only, you'll notice that they have a view only view here, and then they don't have all the editing tools here at the top of the document, and they could just view and print out or do whatever they need to with the document. Now, if you need them to actually take that and do something with it, you would instruct the student to go into File and make a copy, and then they could go ahead and change the name to Test, and whatever convention you'd like them to use. You can have them put their name on the document, and so then they could go ahead and complete the test or fill in whatever the assignment is, and then share it with you. And so they would enter your email address here, and they would choose that you could either edit or view or could comment on their assignment. Now when they do that, that's like turning it into you, and you would see that document then shared back with you in the Shared With Me folder. And so you would have a document here that said Test-Corey Ellis or whatever the student name was that they've shared with you, that you can then open and grade and so on and so forth. So it's very, very cool, the capabilities that you can have with sharing not only folders where everyone can see what's in the folder and collaborate in the folder, but actual documents then that you've created that you want to share out for the students to view. They can then view it and make a copy, do all of their own work on it, and send it back to you. Now, if a student is wanting to create a new document, say they have an assignment that's a group assignment, they could title that document group assignment with their last names perhaps, Ellis and Jones, and then they could go ahead and share the access with Mr. Jones at ccaeagles.org. That's their friend. They want their friend to have the editing access, so both people would be able to be on and editing at the same time. And then when they're finished with the document, they can share it with the teacher, allowing the teacher to edit or comment, and it would be in the teacher's shared folder. So lots of really, really cool capabilities in this Google Drive here for creating folders, and within the folders being able to share an entire folder, and or being able to share a document either for viewing purposes only, which is very helpful. So when we have this parent-student handbook here, just for instance, we could go ahead and go into that parent-student handbook, and we could look at the sharing permissions here, and we could say, okay, we've gotten a lot of people the opportunity to edit that document. A lot of administrators are on here. But when it's all done and said and finished, we might want to change this from private access to anyone with the link can access. And that would allow us then, anyone with the link can view is what we would want it to be here. And that would allow us with that change then to copy this link and share that directly onto the CCA website or wherever we need to share it. With anyone who clicks on that would have view rights to the entire handbook but would not be able to edit it. And any edits that we made would in real time show up on the view document as well. So lots of really cool ways to share folders and documents for either editing or viewing. Hopefully that's helpful, and a brief introduction there to you on sharing and collaborating within the Google Apps for Education domain. I'll see you soon.